but Johnny Valentine had a a, a stare, a confidence. I mean, it was unbelievable.
So talk about when Wahoo got there.
Well, it's funny. You're lucky because I got to talk to Wahoo, and just in a just I went to this small independent show, and I had a bunch of my Mid Atlantic wrestling posters. I wanted to get Wahoo to sign them, and then I asked Wahoo. I said, "Well, look, man, you signed some posters for me. If you want one, you can have one." Because he said he had nothing as far as memorabilia,
Hmm.
and I was like, "Well, just pick one out." I thought he'd take the one where he was going against Jack Briscoe for the world title. And instead, he took one of the Johnny Valentine ones, which kind of broke my heart. But I felt like, well, it's Wahoo. I'd do something nice for him.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, and Wahoo said, "I'll take this Valentine. Everybody talks about him." So I just asked Wahoo. I said, "Look, we're just talking. It's no bullshit here. Tell me what the hell was going on with you and Johnny Valentine? Because you guys were just beating the tar out of each other every single night." And he said, "Well, let me tell you." He said, "I started in football with the Jets, and I left the Jets to go to the expansion Dolphins." He said it was the dumbest thing I ever did because when I left the Jets, the next year, Namath wins the Super Bowl, and I could have made a lot more money staying. But while I was down in Florida, I got up with Eddie Graham, and they trained me and to do that in the off season. And I realized I was making more money, so he decided he just go ahead and get out. So then he said, then I went to Texas to have get away from Florida, and and he was from Oklahoma, right? So
Right.
Texas made sense, and he was well known as the football player and everything. And he said his first main event was with Johnny Valentine, and he just looked at me and he said I got in the ring with the guy, and he beat the shit out of me. He kicked the shit. He said I've never had anybody do that. And he said he realized very early that if you didn't fight back, he would just eat you up. I mean, he would just, you weren't going to mess up his character. He was just going to eat you up. And he said he learned that in those matches that if you didn't fight back, you were in trouble. You were going to you're really going to get hurt. Because back then, it was such a closed society kind of thing. And I think Valentine just had this thing about football players thinking they could become wrestlers. And he was going to prove to them that, he was, he was legitimate and he wanted to be a wrestler. And he said every night. I said, well, in Mid Atlantic, he said, man, I was there. I watched. I said, I saw this stuff. Wahoo. I said, Jesus Christ, man. I mean, you guys every night were just big. One night, they were fighting in the ring, and Johnny Valentine threw this damn punch. He threw his arm like a pendulum and hit him with a forearm right across the chest. And you could hear it echo into the upper deck. He hit so hard. I mean, it was not like a slap. It was more like, it just sounded like two pieces of wood hitting each other. And you could hear it all the way up in the upper deck. These guys were killing each other. And he did it once, and blood and sweat flew off of Wahoo, and it went 4 and 5 rows deep into the crowd. This is blood and sweat flying out. They're not on the floor.
Hmm.
So I'm laying this insane shit on Wahoo, right? About my memories. And he just said, all I can tell you is every time I got in the ring with John Valentine, it was on. And he was going to get over. His character was that he was the toughest guy in the world. And you had to brace yourself for it. You had to be ready for it. But it was a main event. It was main event money, so you had to deal with it. He said, John, one day I got so tired, and if you look back, they started doing little tag matches and shit to kind of give Wahoo a break. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh yeah, yeah.
But anyway, he
They actually put him and Paul Jones together for a little while there.
well, one of the last things Valentine was tagging with was Flair.
Hmm.
you know. But anyway, he said one night he got so fucking mad about getting beat up because he said he was getting beat up. He said he decided, screw it. He said, screw everything. He said, I'm going to try to chop his, I'm going to hit him. I'm going to try to knock his fucking head off. That's exactly what he said. He said, I hauled back and I threw a chop on him and I physically tried to knock his head off. I hit him so hard. And he said he staggered back like 3 steps. His eyes rolled back in his head. And suddenly he kind of came to. He was holding the top rope, and then suddenly he refocused. And he said it looked. He said his eyes were on fire. And then he proceeded to hit me harder than he's ever hit anybody. And he said I looked at his arms, and he had chili bumps running up and down his arm. He said, I'm not going to say that it was sexual because I don't believe that. He said, but he loved the contact. He loved to get hit. And he loved to administer, and he loved to take it. And that's just the way the guy was. He was built out of stone. And
which probably made it. Which probably
killed. Huh?
Which probably made Wahoo one of his favorite guys to work with. Then.
Well, they sure did main event. Texas and Mid-Atlantic. Mid-Atlantic.
Oh, yeah. In Houston, they're led. Yeah, in Houston, they are too.
So, John, I always wonder if it wouldn't have been for the plane crash, would Valentine have possibly gotten a run at at the world title? But I don't think. The more I think about it, if you're the world champion, you've got to be able to sell to make the other guy look good.
Right.
And I don't think that really was anywhere, shape, or form Valentine's strengths.
Well, about a month after the plane crash was on October the 4th, and November the 4th or 5th was when the committee met to talk about the next champion, and that's when Terry got it, and it was between Terry and Harley. But I'm with you. I think, and I'm not saying they would have gone with John, but he would have been in the discussion.
Yeah. I mean, it just makes you wonder. Because he always was a draw. You had to be patient with it, but you always be the draw. And then the famous thing was that you turn him heel, he kills everybody, but he gains this fear and respect from the fans. And when he turns face against somebody who's another bad guy, people would cheer him because they want him to beat people up. So it makes you wonder if he would have done a turn, and he would have been a good guy. I think he probably would have gone up against the Anderson brothers, Ole and Gene.
Well, he was known everywhere because he worked everywhere. So it's he was a known commodity on that world title level. So I don't know. I think he would have been in the discussion. I don't think they would have gone with him because I don't think they could have imagined.
It's like the 50th anniversary of the plane crash.
Yes.
That's crazy to even think about. But
I mean, I think they would have thought that he would not have been as effective putting guys over like the champion had to do.
That's kind of the more you think about it. But there was Johnny Valentine as a singular character, a singular heel character that everybody. In Lou Thesz's book Hooker, he just said if Johnny Valentine knew any wrestling holds whatsoever, he would be unstoppable. You couldn't top him, but he didn't. He did what he did, and that was it. But I tell you, when you get old timers with like me together with some other old guys, you suddenly hit that subject of Johnny Valentine, and and they all become 14-year-old kids, and they're just like, there was nothing like them. There was nothing like him. I was upper deck when he came out once, and I stood up to give him a standing ovation, and he saw me, and he took his time walking through the aisle, and he looked at me the whole way. And I got scared, and I'm in the upper deck. And I tried to look away, and he wouldn't break his look. He was just trained on me, and he watched me. And after a while, I just quit looking at him and suddenly got out of my chair, and I turned around to walk away, and I said to myself, well, it's not like he can hit you when you're in the upper deck and he's on the floor. So I turned around and looked at him, and I went, you got me. His vision, his attention. I mean, it was unbelievable. I mean,
He's just one
it's
of those
almost a
guys that, I mean, he had an aura, right? I mean, he just had, he's like he's sending vibes out or something, you know?
he just, I mean, like I said, he earned your respect in the ring. I mean, he really did. And even though you were afraid of him, whenever he went up against somebody, you were kind of afraid that he was going to beat the shit out of him, which he was. But you still respected him. You know, even the fans, all the real fans, babyface fans and everything. So yeah, it's one of those things that I feel really inadequate in trying to explain it. A lot of older guys we go, you just had to be there to experience it, because nobody hit people harder than Wahoo and Johnny Valentine, and you can go through the record. It's trust me, it's not even close. It sounded like nothing else. The only person I can think of that, well, Harley Race comes to mind. I mean, Race was tough. He was tough, and he's the guy that came up here from Florida as Handsome Harley Race and lost the U.S. belt to Johnny in Greensboro, and it went about 58 minutes.
Mm.
And nobody left their seat. Nobody.